everybody, this is Amy Rich with amyrich.net. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator who is excited about our new online exclusive products. And Stampin' Up! Has announced that every March, November, and July, there will be new products added to our online exclusives. And it is just as it says, products only available online and in no print catalogs. And what I love about this is that they can introduce new things more regularly and outside the confines of a catalog so that there's a little more flexibility in what we can offer. And one suite that I am super stoked about having in my repertoire is the Hello Irresistible Suite Collection. And that suite collection includes the Irresistible Blooms bundle, which is the stamp set and the dies, which are totally awesome. I'm going to show you how those cut things out in just a second. But I love the stamp set because of the sentiments especially. They're so chunky and juicy. The font is just so fun. I just love it so much. And the designer series paper, of course, almost makes the entire suite for me. And included in the color palette of this designer series paper is Pretty Peacock and some Lost Lagoon, which are former in colors that are coming back in the new catalog with our new color refresh in May. And I am thrilled to be able to use those colors again. This is just a small, not all of the pieces in the designer series paper. I wanted to show you some other ones that I have that are well used. Okay, so you can see from these designs that we can do some cutting of flowers. And then there are also a couple of sheets in here where we can do the same thing with the leaves. We can do some die cutting with the leaves in that piece. And then again in this piece. So there's a lot of versatility because we can use the dies with the designer series paper and with the stamp set, of course. So let me bring those dies in. And you can see at the top here, I've got 5 dies that coordinate specifically with the stamp set. So I can take my dies and cut out the stamped images of all 5 of these images right here. And then I can do the same thing like I showed you with the designer series paper. And that is so much fun because it just allows for even more possibilities. And on the back of the Hello Irresistible Designer Series paper pack, you can see the colors Daffodil Delight, Flirty Flamingo, Lost Lagoon, Petal Pink, Pretty Peacock, and Soft Seafoam are all the colors in the suite. And I'm going to bring in some Flirty Flamingo cardstock for my card base. And this is cut 4 1/4 by 11 and scored in half at 5 1/2. So I'm going to fold that and use my bone folder for the crease. And then I have already cut a piece of the designer series paper in half. And this one I've used a lot of already because I used it as a swap. And so I've cut it in half. So this is 3 inches. That is the width that I want it, but I want to trim off a little bit. I'm going to trim off about 3/8 of an inch at the top here. And then I'm going to turn it, and I want this 5 1/4 inch total in length. So it looks like this when I'm done. And then while I have my trimmer out, I'm also going to bring in back in my card base. And what I'm going to actually do for this is I am going to cut 1 inch right here from the bottom edge to the score line. So I'm going to put this in at 1 inch. And then I'm just going to cut up to that score line to make a super simple fun fold. So, oh, and while I have this out, I have one more thing I got to do. I'm going to grab this piece right here, which of course you can use for the dies, but I'm going to use the back side. And I'm going to cut off a 3/4 of an inch strip, and it is already cut at 5 1/4. So 3/4 by 5 1/4 for that piece. Now putting my trimmer away, I am going to adhere this designer series paper over here to this section right here. So once we have cut off an inch off the front there, that leaves 3 1/4 inches. So then when I go to put my 3-inch piece of designer series paper on there, there's perfect border all the way around. And then what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to adhere this just right down to the back of my card. So it just makes a quick and easy fun fold without really any much effort whatsoever. And then this piece is going to go on here like this. So once again, we've got that nice border. Because I cut an inch section, my 3/4 of an inch piece of designer series paper fits in there great. Next, I'm going to add my flowers. So I have cut a couple of flowers out of the designer series paper, and then I really like to give the flowers some dimension. So just with my fingers, you can use also your bone folder. You can roll up those edges, because once it goes in the envelope, if it's pretty going in, that's all that matters to me. It might flatten out along the way, but if it's pretty going in, that's good. I'm only going to put adhesive in the center and closer to the bottom, and that's going to kind of go right over the top of this flower here. And we're going to add that and just press that down until it has adhered. It's okay if it hangs over a little bit. It adds interest to it when it just hangs over. And then we're going to do the same thing with this other flower. So using my bone folder or my fingers, we'll just curl that up, and we're going to adhere this one kind of the same way. And it's going to go over this flower here. So I'm using actually the flowers on the designer series paper as kind of a template to show where I want to put those other flowers. Isn't that cute? Oh my goodness. Then taking a piece of our glittered organdy ribbon, oh, so pretty. I'm just going to put a little adhesive here. I'm going to curl this around to make a little, I don't know, cute little ribbon there. And then we will adhere this down. And I will probably need to trim those off because we don't want them hanging off that far. And then grabbing just a scrap piece of basic white and my thank you from the stamp set. I'm going to ink that up in Flirty Flamingo. I think I need to re-ink that Flirty Flamingo a little bit. And I'm going to stamp that. I'm going to hold it on the paper a little bit just to try to get some more ink soaking in there. And then because punches are awesome, we're going to use this one to punch that out. And that comes from the annual catalog. It's called the Lasting Label Punch. So I'm going to punch that out. It's the perfect size for the thank you. Then we'll raise that up with some Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm just going to grab 4 of them here. And then we're going to add that right across the center of our ribbon. I'm going to overlap the border of Flirty Flamingo, so it's right there. And then, like I said, you'll want to trim those off. Now we're going to add some of the loose frosted dots from the suite. And just note that actually, as of the taping of this video, these are not currently available. However, they are coming back, so we will wait with bated breath for that information to come. All right, so I'm just gonna put, because they're loose, we just need to put a little adhesive. So I'm gonna add adhesive to 5 different locations. And then the gooey tip on our Take Your Pick tool works great for this, to grab them out of the container. And I'm going to use some larger ones, and those are going to go in the center of the flower. Now the one thing is, because the glue's still wet, you know, it'll take a second for it to grab on, so you may need your other finger there to help get it to where it needs to go and make it stay. And one more. So these loose dots are Daffodil Delight, Flirty Flamingo, and Pretty Peacock, and they're so much fun, which is why they are already sold out. All right, one more thing, we want to decorate the inside. So I have a piece of 3-inch by 5 1/4 inches basic white cardstock. And I'm going to stamp off the edge just a little bit. So I'm going to grab a piece of grid paper. And we'll use the little flower and the double leaf here for stamping on the inside. And that'll just bring it all together. So we'll stamp this down here in the corner. And then use soft sea foam to finish it off with some leaves. Then we'll adhere that to complete the card and make it perfect. So remember that online exclusive products, some might be back, others, if they're gone, they might just be gone. And you can find whatever is available in our online store, and you can head to amyrich.stampinup.net and click shop now to find those products. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this quick little fun fold.